of the border, and his reaction at the start of the race was too much for Clay to overcome, and Litton took home his first Ironman award of the season. The Pro Mods are in the tightest battle in IHRA competition, and the pressure is not about to let up, with 7 drivers within 47 points of the top spot. The road to Rockingham continues at Budweiser Motorsports Park. Welcome to the Hooters IHRA Drag Racing Series Western RV Rocky Mountain Nationals, presented by Northern Provincial Pipelines and Edson Chrysler, featuring the bumper-to-bumper Night of Fire. A packed house here at Budweiser Motorsports Park. The fans have been waiting all weekend for a decent day to go racing. Well, I don't know if you'd call it a decent day, but we are going to go racing. Ken Stout with you, Johnny Rocca alongside, and we'll have Medusa in the pits covering all the action there. Johnny, a tough time qualifying. We've had nothing but bad weather for 2 days straight.
It has been absolutely terrible, Ken. It has rained. It has put us out. It has been cold. We had to go get the jackets out, and we've had mud, lots of mud. But, of course, Medusa's been right at home, but the crowds just keep on pouring in the gate. They're doing just fine to be here today in this cold temperature. It's 67 degrees, but look, it's 3,073 feet corrected. That is important for these racers. We got an overcast day, we got damp conditions, and a corrected altitude like that. All kinds of things can happen up here with this race today, Ken.
Yeah, as you take a look, there's one lone bird out there cruising around. He's trying to find the beach. There's no beach here. And we're going to show you Top Fuel qualifying on a very green track, talking about the conditions that you just mentioned. You see a motor blow up right there, Johnny. Tell me about what's going on here. Why are these guys struggling?
They're struggling. The track's cold. Don't forget, it's Sunday morning now. We have this thing with a cold racing surface. They're spinning the tires. When they spin the tires like that, it causes the cylinders to go out. Like I've told you, the cylinders go out, off comes the blower belt. There it goes right out there. These guys were struggling. They're all over that racetrack trying to get this thing down there, and it's the same story time after time. It's just tough to race when the conditions are like this.
You can see him black tracking, laying a little rubber down. That's a good thing as we get ready for round number 1. And that man won 1 year ago right here next to Clay Millican. And ironically enough, he'll line up next to Clay in round 1 as he's qualified number 8. Medusa spoke with him about it.
Bruce, you qualified 8th. Good news, bad news. Good news is you're in the race. You barely made it in the race. Bad news is you are racing Clay Millican.
See, I've raced him 20 times before, I think. It's nothing new. I mean, we just had to get on a game plan. It smoked the tires on the last shot, and we pedaled it, and fortunately, praise God, we got in. But, we'll come back and look at it and see what we got for the next round, and we'll go out and give them a run at it, and we're going to believe. We're going to give it our best shot, and if it's meant to be, we'll win this round. If it won't, we'll go on to the next one.
He's actually faced him 18 times in the final round alone, but Clay has definitely had his number, but he gets one every now and again, and he has struggled a little bit this season, Johnny.
Yes, he has, but, Bruce is one of those guys. He just, after his horrendous crash earlier this year, he has come back, and he will continue to come back. Millican, Litton in the first round, Nelson, Terramasinis, Cullinan, Boland, Peyton, and Capp. That is going to make our field for today, and that's what we got to get down the racetrack.
We'll line them up here. Our first pair right off the bat will be Chris Karamasinas and C.J. Nelson. Nelson out of San Diego. Karamasinas, of course, at the age of 75 plus, somewhere 76, 77. I don't know if anybody really knows as these two veterans line up beside each other. Right off the bat, C.J. Nelson goes red. His day is done. But look at Chris Karamasinas. The Greek runs down through there and gets his 3rd round win of the season.
He got lucky on that one, Ken. He had a cylinder out on that thing right at the hit. You can see it there in the near lane. See the cylinder go out, and then he starts switching flames as those candles switch back and forth. Chris really ducked a bullet getting into the next round. If he hadn't gone red on him, there's no way he'd have got that win.
Well, I'll tell you, knocking some cylinders out on this green track might have been a good thing here in round number 1. A little less horsepower, keep keep those tires stuck to the track, he'll drive down through there with a time of 5:12, 283 miles an hour. Well, we have a 35-year veteran that has made a return, and his first chance here with the IHRA. His name is Terry Capp.
We're here because of the fact that it's the Rocky Mountain Nationals. It's a second of the series that we've had here. And last year when I was at the race as a spectator and I smelled the nitro and felt the ground shake, I said, baby, if I have to be in this town, I'm going to be here in the car next year. And here we are.
Well, Ken, you know, Terry's an old-time racer like I am. You get that IV in your arm with 30-weight nitro going into that thing, and you just get back to the track and you smell it. It just gets all your juices flowing again. And here he is, showing up with Rob Vandergrift's bunch. He's got Rob's crew chief tuning on him. We'll see what he can do with this run. Holy mackerel! Did you see that?
Terry Capp flies down through there. 475, 319. That is the fastest top fuel pass in Budweiser Motorsports Park history. It is also Terry Capp's first ever 4-second run at over 300 miles per hour. Hats off to that guy.
Now there is that is a high, boy. You get out there, your first 4-second run, and you reset the track record in front of the hometown folks. He's over here on the near lane. Look at that car. It's humped up there, just getting down through the racetrack. What a run that was. Look at him go.
Out of the groove just a little bit, but drove it just like he's been in that seat forever. Excellent job. You can see top fuel, Clay Millican held the ET or holds the ET record at 466. Now Terry Capp will take over the mile per hour record at 319.37. In Pro Mod, Ricky D holds that ET, and there's the man, Bruce Litton, signing an autograph for one of the young guns.
You don't suppose that's Bruce's new crew chief down here? That ought to do it. We'll be right back. Don't go away.
IHRA Rockies.
Being brought to you by Northern Provincial Pipeline, NPP, committed to performance, and by Western RV, #1 in family fun. Welcome back to Budweiser Motorsports Park. The fans are out here. They put the jackets on. This is a beautiful city, big city, and a lot of fans out here.
Yeah, you know, they've been having to drive the track between almost every pair that's gone down. It's cool, and it's rained a little, and then it stopped. They go up, drive the track, get the next pair down. Boy, I want to tell you, this track is slippery. The drivers are really apprehensive of this thing.
Take a look at the points. This is coming into this event through 4 rounds. Clay Millican, of course, on top. He has been undefeated so far this season. And the Greek, Chris Karamessinas, in the back half of the top 10 in the number 6 position. We'll continue on here. Round number 1. Doug Foley in the far lane. In the near lane will be Tim Cullinan. Tim Cullinan out of Franklin Park, Florida, qualified in the number 2 spot with a 49 at 302 miles an hour. Tim Cullinan lays one down. That is a career best ET and mile per hour for Tim Cullinan, and a great reaction time as well. He put the whole package together, and for that he gets a round win and the right to go to the semifinals. Look at the front end perked up there, Johnny.
Hike those wheels up. Dangerous situation. Fortunately, he wasn't going fast enough to get the air under that canard up front, but he gets it down there and runs a great number. Nelson in the far lane, he can't hardly get that thing out of his own way. It's just gets down there, lays down, it dies. Great run.
Well, I tell you, I can remember Don Lampus back in '99. Every time that car ran fast, he did a big-time wheel stand, so they were transferring weight. Well, this is a big-time run right here. We talked about these two guys. They've met in the finals 18 different times. We're going to flash back to 1 year ago. This was the finals here at Budweiser Motorsports Park where these two guys went at it.
Look at Litton's car in that. He was making some horsepower. The front end was dancing in the wind as the car tries to rotate around the rear. You talk about flying. I wonder if he can do it again today.
We'll find out. Clay Millican struggled in that round, lost a bunch of cylinders, but this guy has just been unstoppable. He is undefeated in the 04 season, and Bruce Litton has struggled in the 04 season. He's had a number of engine failures. The guys will try to get him out here. Keep in mind, he qualified number 8 with just a 6-second pass, so they really have to find a combination if they're going to hang over there with the Warner team.
They're taking their time getting these cars in. This track is still cold. Let's keep that in mind. Oh, boy. Shattered the tires. The track's cold. Clay on this side just did get that car down the track. Bruce on the other side, just about the head of the throttle, dropped 2 cylinders, 1 on each side. He didn't have any trouble driving the car because it was out on each side. You can see the tires go away from the engine over revving. There it was.
Boy, you can see the big-time chatter marks out of Clay Millican's car, but the reaction time, a 002. That is 0.02 of a second from going red. He'll win it with the 472, 314. You know, at this track, we have some of the state-of-the-art safety equipment just in case something does go wrong, and we thought we'd show you what we have.
Well, the LifePak 12 is a monitoring device that we use when someone is seriously ill or when they need to be watched in case they might become seriously ill. When you have a sport like this where people can get seriously injured or even killed, you want to have a device that can watch them and monitor them from moment to moment. We can monitor their heart rate, like I said, their oxygen levels, things like that. And if any of those things start to go bad, we know that right away. This device also can shock them if they need to be shocked, if their heart were to stop or have an abnormal rhythm that needs to be corrected. Bruce had his accident. You want to hook this up right away, make sure that he's safe and away from the vehicle, and the next thing you do is hook this up. That'll give you your heart rate, your blood pressure, your oxygen levels, things like that, and then you can watch as you go and see how he does. The best day is when I just sit around and do nothing. Everybody's pretty happy about that.
Just one of our silent heroes here. Nice to have him with us. You can see the midway there. A lot of buzz going on. Lots of folks cruising around. And standing at the nose of Harold Martin's Pro Mod cars is crew chief Butch Peterson as they prepare that one for round number 1. And we'll bring that to you when we return as the blowers and the nitrous cars battle it out.
IHRA Rockies.
We are back at Budweiser Motorsports Park where the fans are having some fun, and Clay Millican had some fun, but he dodged a big old bullet in round 1.
Clay, you got a 002, a 314, and you almost red lighted. How does that make you feel?
Well, I know one thing. I don't want to say that, you know, I intended on having a 002 light because I certainly didn't. I mean, that's just a bad job of red lighting. You know, I probably had a little bit of something on my mind last year. I lost on a hole shot here. Bruce beat me in the final round on a hole shot, and I didn't want that to happen again, but 002, that's one of those deals where your brain is going, the light's not on, but your foot says, the heck with it, go. And so I got lucky, and the thing goes 002. I mean, there's a lot of guys out here that guess and, you know, have those kind of lights from time to time. I try not to do that because, you know, you got to, like, mind, foot, go, yellow, you know, you got to put all these things together and make the thing go down the racetrack. And 002, that's surprising, you know.
Sounds like a blonde moment. Think of
whatever all that meant. I went too soon and I got lucky and it did
go. And we're going to show you Pro Modified round number 1 highlights. First pair we're going to show you is Pat Stoken and Wayne Torkelson. Torkelson in the 55 Thunderbird got out hard. An 022 light. Pat Stoken was way late with a 102 light, but he tracks him down and wins by 0.04 of a second. Talk about a close race. Next up, John Shelby, Carl Spirit. Again, another great run here as he wins it on a hole shot. Shelby beats him by 0.24 of a second, just inching by. Next up, the former champ, Shannon Jenkins, lined up alongside Al Billis, a fellow Canadian racer. Shannon Jenkins with the best winning reaction time of the round with an 014 light, runs 6:32, and then it was Quayne Stott and Mike Castellano. Castellano qualified number 3, comes up short here in round 1 as Quayne Stott drives around him. Mitch Stott, Quayne's brother, and Dennis Radford. Mitch Stott, who's been struggling all year long, cuts an 074 light, has to thump down through there and manages to get around Dennis Radford, who cut an 051 light, and we are now ready for round number 2 in Pro Mod, and this is how they shape up.
Well, there's Ricky D. He's got John Shelby. Shannon Jenkins is up against Lang Martin and Mitch Stott. Quayne Stott gets to take on Pat Stoken. So here they come. Let's see if they can do the job.
You know, we should mention as we watch John Shelby do the burnout with a 57 Chevrolet that Ricky D set the ET track record here in qualifying with a 6:26, then reestablished that record with a 6:24 in round number 1. Harold Martin leading in the points coming into this event. How about that? That is a nitrous car.
And, you know, bear in mind, the first 7 guys are within 47 points of each other. This is through 4 rounds. Notably, Vaughn Smith did not make the cut. The weather kept him off of the final qualifying day. They couldn't make the cut the first day, and they went home early.
This one's over. Shelby leads 2 right there. 6:27, an 0:40 light for Ricky D. He is on his game, and you know, he went to the finals here 1 year ago.
Well, that's right. He sure did. And, you know, that's unusual for John Shelby. He is a old season pro. He'd have never made it down the track anyhow. You saw that thing shake the tires out there. He wisely lifts Ricky. I don't know what's going on over Ricky D's camp, but he had that thing glued in the groove all the way down the track. Great run by him. He has got that car going for the hometown fans.
Yeah, and you've got to think, with him up here living in this area, he's seen this track, he's seen these types of conditions, so maybe he has that setup that leads to an advantage for him in this particular category. Of course, once again, making it to the finals a year ago. Let's go to the top end and talk with our winner, Ricky D, doing a great job here in round number 2.
Yo, baby, you dominated 223 miles per hour.
Oh, it's a little loose, but it was a good run. We got there first, so that's all that matters.
Reaction time was .040.
Oh, not a bad late either. Felt like a good run. It's moving around a bit, but hopefully the weather stays with us and we go another 2 rounds.
It will, you will.
This one's for you, Michael.
Well, we'll get ready to fire up our next pair, which will feature Quayne Stott and Pat Stoken. Quayne Stott fresh off of a win 1 event ago at Grand Bend.
Quayne always travels with his longtime mate. She is the one that gets him in the groove, gets him set up. Quayne has done very well up here. Well, little tire shake going on there. And still gets it down there.
Quayne Stott, an 073 light, goes 639, 223 miles an hour, and like you mentioned before, Johnny, it's just tough getting a handle on this track, and just the smallest of edges will get you a win.
You're exactly right, Ken. Look at it. You can see the car, the hole underneath of the car is quivered, and so was Pat. Pat gave up on it. Quayne stuck with it. He was lucky. He could drive through it, get that thing to bite back into the racetrack, and get it on down there. Ran a reasonable number. He isn't going to win any races much after this running that number, but he did run a reasonable number considering what he just drove through.
And what a beautiful shot of that track. You can see the tower back behind. The stands are full. Everybody's having an awesome time here as we continue on at Budweiser Motorsports Park. You can see them landing. That's right, north of the border. You definitely want to come up here, have a great time. It's a beautiful city, and these fans love racing. Top Fuel, we have more action with that category as they refresh the motors. But first, we are going to finish up round number 2 of Pro Mod. We'll bring them back. Nitrous and blowers, you don't want to miss it. Blanket in the middle of July. We always talk about corrected altitude and atmospheric conditions. It's a huge part of every race. Johnny Rock, I had a chance to speak with the crew chief about it.
We're here in Billy Harper's pit with his crew chief, Evan Reeves. We're going to talk about density altitude and why it's important to these race cars. Evan, why do you use density altitude? How do you get to it? And what do you use that information for in your race car?
Well, Johnny, what we do, density altitude is a corrected altitude that we figure based on barometric pressure, temperature, and humidity. The higher the density altitude corrected, the less fuel we need in the engine. The better the density altitude, the more fuel we have to put in the engine.
What happens when you get the density altitude wrong?
Well, when we misfigure, we have a situation like we had on our last pass. The engine runs too lean. This is a piston out of the engine that got to 2,000 degrees because we didn't have enough fuel in it, and it started to melt and hurt itself.
Take a look at the different combinations here in Pro Mod. You can run a supercharged engine or a nitrous oxide engine. IHRA world record, 6.11.2, 232 miles an hour, both held by Mike Janis. And the track record held by Ricky D in the ET department, just set in round number 1. And Quayne Stott set the mile per hour record 1 year ago. Pro Modified, round number 2. We'll continue on here. It'll be Harold Martin and Mitch Stott. Harold Martin is the only competitor in this division that has been to the finals more than once this year. He's made it there twice, and he'll line up alongside the reigning world champ.
Don't forget, Ken, he's also the only guy out there with the injected car.
You can see the blown car. That is Mitch Stott sitting in the near lane, and the far lane would be the engineer, Harold Martin.
Well, a little bit of a burn down here. I guess Harold finally gets cold feet and pulls in first. But guess what? Mitch didn't do any good holding out. Harold Martin runs right over top of him. But look at the reaction times. I think both those guys were sound asleep up there. Maybe that's what the problem was. They fell asleep staging.
Better yet, look at the ET for Harold Martin as he reestablishes the track ET record on a run that looked a little ugly right there in the first 300 feet or so. He runs 6:22.3, 225 miles an hour. That's the quickest pass we've had all weekend long.
Had those front wheels up. He carried them out there to about 150 feet, which is really unusual in a pro mod, especially in the injected and nitrous cars, for them to carry the wheels that far. Butch Peterson cheering him on. What a marvelous job Butch has done this year with Harold's car.
Shannon Jenkins doing the burnout alongside with Kenny Lang. That is Shannon Jenkins, the Iceman. And make sure you check out our next show coming from Edmonton, featuring the Sunoco Race Fuels Pro Stock and Funny Car category. It'll air July 31st at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can always keep up with our schedule at IHRA.com. And while you're there, make sure you swing on over to our good friends at SpeedTV.com. Here we go. Shannon Jenkins in the far lane. Kenny Lang in the near lane. It's showtime in Pro Mod Round 2. Dodged a bullet in round 1 when Billy Harper went red, but he struggles here against the Iceman, and Shannon Jenkins will get a win with an 074 light and 6:31 at 2:20. Looks like Kenny had some problems there, Johnny.
Yeah, he did, and you know, the car made a move towards the middle. It was shaking. You look underneath the car, you can see it quivering down there. Then it causes those wheels to slide. He makes that little sachet, big tip off that he spin the tires. Shannon, that was an El Stinko light for Shannon, even though he got off first. It's just not like him. It's not going to work.
You wonder if that 014 might have scared him just a little bit. And, hey, there's Terry Capp. Nice to have him back. We talked about the veteran. Well, this is the way a lot of these guys fund what they do by selling hats and T-shirts. And we'd also love to sell you some great IHRA official merchandise, Johnny.
Yeah, we got hats and dragsters and shirts and sweatshirts in the middle of summer, if you can believe that. And we got all kinds of neat stuff up here. They need to come up here and look at this place.
You can see all the Hooters girls. They always look lovely, but they look better when they're wearing an IHRA hat. Well, the kids are having fun with the dragsters, and that's exactly what we're going to do when we return to Budweiser Motorsports Park. A drag racing series. We're getting ready to show you round 2 of Top Fuel, but there's been some changes made to the Champs car.
Hi, Medusa here. I'm here with Mike Clover, Clay Millican's crew chief, and we have a new device here. Mike, could you tell us a little bit about what you've done with this plate? And it's made out of titanium?
Right. We've added a new piece to our race car. This upper protection plate has been added for this race, and this is what we'll continue to have, and it's become the new standard and will be mandatory in 2 weeks for all the cars in the country. The lower piece we've run for 2 years. We put this on a couple years ago when we had a part of the race car get in the cockpit, and once was enough for us, so we covered that lower part up, but we've added this upper piece for extra protection and safety.
Yeah, they really need that thing in there, Ken. That, you know, the shrapnel comes through the piece up along the back. It's called a tombstone. And now they've kind of had to put some wings on that thing to keep the junk out of the driver's lap.
We'll continue on here. This will be round number 2 as we take a look at the ladder. This is how things will shake down and how they'll pair up here in the semifinals.
Millican and Karamessinis, Cullinan and Capp. Boy, I want to tell you, there's some really good names. I'm glad to see Chris back up here.
Well, this next pair couldn't be farther apart on the map. One coming from Canada, the other from Florida. Tim Cullinan will be in the near lane, and you're looking at the back of Terry Capp's car there as they pull up to the starting line. Corrected altitude has gotten a little bit worse based on temperature. It's warmed up, now 3,400 feet above sea level. Cullinan, who will lose that one, and Terry Capp has some problems, but I got to tell you, Johnny, at half track, Terry Capp was actually a little bit quicker and a little bit faster than he was in round 1 when he set a personal best for himself.
Yes, he did. Well, Tim's got too much clutch, not enough dust coming out the back. You see the tires go away, and he really stayed with it. He'll catch the devil for that. But look at Capp's car. He gets that thing down there, and just about the time the clutch locks up in it, watch the racetrack, and you'll tell because he starts black tracking that thing down there, and that is why he had just a frog hair, a spin on that thing, black track. See it there, black tracking the track, and that's where that thing hooked up and hauled the mail.
He was starting to make some steam. Rob Flynn, you mentioned him before. Crew chief for Terry Capp, also crew chief for Bob Van de Griffin. Boy, you were right. And the car gave up a little bit early. He was actually 0.05 of a second quicker at the 8th mile mark, and also, as we mentioned before, a little bit faster in the mile-per-hour mark by 6 miles per hour. Let's go to the top end where Medusa has the man that won the U.S. Nationals in 1980.
There you are, Terry. You told the hometown people what you can do.
Well, we're back, and we won that one. I don't know by what of a margin, because I couldn't look behind me, but what was the numbers?
You had a reaction time of .062 and 225 miles an hour.
We shut her off early.
Yeah.
But we had to put a whole shot on him because you got to do a little bit of practicing, so I guess that worked, right?
Yes, it did. Good luck.
Thank you.
Well, as you can see, Clay Millican by himself. Chris Karamessinas not able to make the call for round number 2 for the 3rd time this year.
You know, that's really a shame. Chris has won his races. I don't think it would have done him any good anyhow. Look at that!
4:57, and that is a new track ET record. What a great job, and I'll tell you, these guys have just been deadly consistent for 3 years now. Unbelievable stuff.
Look at that car. It hikes. That clutch goes 1-to-1 in flat tracks, hikes that front end up. He puts the cylinder out. If he hadn't put that cylinder out, Ken, he probably would have set a new world record.
Great job right there for those guys. They'll move on to the next round. Another guy that's going on to the next round will be the 3-time champ, Shannon Jenkins. Medusa's with him.
All right, you're tapping on Ricky D. What are you going to do to beat him?
Well, we're just going to go out and give him everything we got and hope it's good enough. But he's running awful good. But, you know, he better be on his best behavior because we're coming out to get him.
9:59. Oh, you gotta love it. The Iceman's not playing any games. And there's Ricky D as he pulls up to the staging lanes. Semifinals of Pro Mod next. Alberta, a fellow Canadian is Ricky D. And Ricky D made it to his first final here 1 year ago.
Hey, Medusa here, and I'm here with Ricky D. His new little nickname. Could you tell us why and how you got that?
Oh, we got it about a year ago here at this race. We got some TV coverage, and they couldn't pronounce my name. They shortened it up to Ricky D instead of Rick DiStefano.
You are from Calgary. You have a business here as well. I bet it feels kind of good to only drive a couple hours to a race for once.
Well, I got up in the morning, went into work for a few hours, got some groceries. About 4 o'clock in the afternoon, I said, okay, it's time to mosey on to Edmonton.
What do you do before a race?
Hard rock. Lots of rock, they call it. Nice and loud as it can go. Get ready, have some fun. Pretend I'm going to the store to grab a Slurpee.
Any high expectations, any rivalry here for you?
Everybody that gets in my way.
And you know, it wasn't that we couldn't say his name, we just couldn't say it the same way twice. DiStefano and DiStefano. You know, Johnny, I don't know if we're any better now a year later. Pro Modified semifinals coming up, and there he is, Ricky D. He'll line up alongside the Iceman, Shannon Jenkins, and we're going to take a look at the ladder here. And as you take a look at the ladder, you'll see that we have a chance to see the same 2 finalists once again, Quayne Stott and Ricky D, if they can advance one more round.
Well, Ricky D's got Shannon in the first one. Harold Martin's going to go up against Quayne Stott. You know, you're right. This could be one interesting final round.
Shannon Jenkins in the near lane pretty much called him out, said he better be on his A game, but I got to tell you, Ricky D's been on his A game all weekend long. RPM's up on the blower car.
Ricky D just put a hole in Shannon.
Man, oh man, what a great drag race. The starting line, pretty doggone close. 0.43 light to an 0.56, but you are right, Johnny. It was Ricky D who laid him out at both ends of the track. Take another look at it here.
Boy, I want to tell you, that car just got in the groove. Look at it. It's just glued in the groove. Down it goes. They've been like that all weekend. You know, that's the Shagnabby Indian tribe that is on the side of his car. Maybe the spirits of my ancestors are guiding Ricky this day.
Well, Shannon Jenkins will come up short, and once again, for the 2nd year in a row, the man in the far lane in that beautiful Corvette born in 1953 will go to a 2nd final here at Edmonton.
Well, you know, Ken, they had a tough time of it at the last race, and now they seem to be finally getting their act together here today. I guess home track and cloudy weather and rain just goes naturally with these guys.
You're looking at the side of Harold Martin's AC Delco sponsored machine and Pro Mod. The fuel-injected car, that is Quayne Stott, fresh off a win, one event ago at Grand Bend. Butch Peterson, the crew chief, a new crew chief for the 2004 season for Harold Martin. Harold Martin, fresh off a track record-setting ET mark at 6:22, will try to make his way to yet another final. Nitrous versus blower. Of course, Quayne in the near lane. Going to have enough for the nitrous car, and how about that? Harold Martin 6:24.2. That will be the second quickest ET for the weekend in this division.
I want to tell you, look at this. Quayne Stott leaves a week ahead of Harold Martin, and Harold makes it up, including tire shake. You saw the car sashay. What did I tell you about that? Those tires shake, they spin, the car moves sideways, and he still runs a near record number on this racetrack. If he gets that thing hooked up, Ken, the national record's going to fall.
Boy, I'll tell you, that front end really gets perched up in the air hard. He really carries that front end out a long ways, but it settles down and runs hard.
Look at this. Just absolutely drives right around Quayne by the 60-foot clocks. Walks, takes it going away.
But we won't have a replay of what we had last year in the finals. Harold Martin will go to his 5th final. He's yet to win one, nor has Ricky D. We'll have a first-time winner here at Edmonton. Let's go to the top with our winner, Harold Martin.
Yay! You beat the Stott brothers!
Boy, and that's a tough game to beat, you know. We set our goals high at the beginning of this season, and we said if we're going to be the champion, we got to beat some of the champions. And certainly when you can claim 2 Stott brothers in one day, you've done something very special.
That's exactly right, especially with an injected car, the only one on the tour.
Well, we need to talk about our Summit Super Series. It's a very special series that goes on for our sportsman racers, and it has a bunch of money in there available, along with a World Championship Diamond Ring and an IHRA Ironman. For our box racers, you can also win a turnkey-worthy Sunset Quick Rod Dragster and 2 Pit Pro Pit Bikes. Now, for our no-box racers, a little bit different prize package. A 2005 Pontiac G6 Huntsville engine, 540 cubic inches of big, bad Chevrolet, and, of course, that would be a racing engine. Here's our points leaders at this point in time throughout the series in the box division. Ronnie Dodson from Greer Dragway leads it with 33 points. And in our no box division, it would be Richard Newman from Cherokee Dragway with a total of 34 points, followed by Chris Bunch and Warren Smith. We've got a lot more racing coming your way. The skies are clearing up. The racing action's getting hot, and you don't want to miss the finals. IHRA Drag Racing Series, Ken Stout with you alongside Johnny Rocca and Medusa. And our Edmonton bumper-to-bumper Night of Fire featured some of the best in the industry as they came out here to play for our final qualifying round. Top Fuel, Pro Mod, Pro Stocking, yes, we had Nitro Harleys here on the premises. Perch that front end up. And how about diesel trucks doing burnouts? And hot Hooters girls. Woo! All right, let's talk about our Mr. Gasket Pro-Am divisions. In Hot Rod, keep in mind they run 1090. That's the idea of the class. Glenn Ferguson Jr. chasing a championship here, followed by Ed Pauly and John Swink. Steve Korger, former champion in the division, also down in there. Let's go to Lakewood Super Rod. This is a 1090 index class. They go 1 second quicker. And I'll tell you, if you want to go racing, you might want to think about a different class other than these .90 classes, because they are phenomenal racers. I mean, perfect at both ends of the track. Excel Quick Rod, Troy Williams Jr. on top, followed by one of the very toughest families in drag racing, Ron Folk, and of course, the Folk Racers. Mr. Gasket Pro-Am stuff. Well, let's go to Ricky D, where Medusa is talking with a guy who's looking for his first win.
Ricky D, you have Harold Martin. He's got a few tricks he says he's going to have to pull one out here, because your hometown boy, Canadian boy, a lot of Canadian fans rooting you on. What are you going to do?
Well, I don't normally talk junk, but this time I will. He's going to have to pull out every trick he's got, because we have to. So we'll see what we can do. We're going to leave it. We'll leave on time. We got enough Les Davenport power, and hopefully we'll get there first.
So rumor has it you like to play hard, so now you're going to have to really run hard.
We'll run hard. I don't need to run this car anymore today, so if we hurt the motor, this run doesn't matter to me.
That sounds like fighting
first.
Sounds like fighting wars to me.
As long as we can take it home, one piece, that's all I care about.
All right, good luck, huh?
Thanks a lot.
You know, we haven't talked about that, but Les Davenport is really the brains behind that car. Old-time racer.
Well, they're preparing the track right there, and I've got to tell you, Ricky D has crushed him in the reaction time department, but it's been Harold in the ET. This will be a road to Rockingham. We are ready for the finals, and these guys want to earn some points to get ready for those World Finals, which will happen later on, of course, our final event in Rockingham. You're looking at Harold Martin, the nitrous and injected-fed machine. As he does the burnout, he's got a chance to win his first ever IHRA event. This is his third final of the 04 season. Ricky D also looking for his first ever IHRA Ironman. We've had 4 different winners in 4 different rounds so far this year, Johnny.
Well, you know, it's going to be probably one of the best drag races we've ever seen. Both of these guys have not been in the final. We've got to find out which one of them can do it. You know, way this racetrack's been today, this could well turn out to be a pedal fest. Butch is all cranked up for it, no doubt about it.
Harold Martin was late getting to the staging lanes. Just barely made the call as they pre-stage. It's showtime. We will have a new winner here.
Harold tagging him out. Whoa! Look at this. Ricky kicks the belt off. Harold lifts. He quits on the run. Looks over. Doesn't see it. Trashes the motor.
Man,
and wins the daggone race.
How about that?
Holy mackerel.
Ricky D with an 060 light, and I got to tell you, based off the numbers all day long, this should have been Ricky D's race based on nothing but reaction times. Harold Martin's been quicker, but just couldn't hang with him. Right there, you can see the blower belt flies off of that thing, and that ended Ricky D's day.
The burst panel, they got it too lean. They said, we're going to spin the motor. Harold, in the meantime, over there gets the front end up. He lifts. When he lifts on the car, he looks over and doesn't see Ricky. He gets back in it and trashes the motor right at the traps. Boy, you want to talk about it all happening at one time. Watch this.
Wow, the sounds of speed as they cross the finish line. I got to tell you, both runs pretty ugly right there. Butch Peterson said, you know what? He knew he had to set up wrong. The front end of that car was so high, it looked like it might have unloaded the back tires, but nonetheless, that man right there will claim his first ever IHRA Ironman after going to the finals 5 times.
Dreams are possible?
Dreams are possible. Never give up on them. Yes, yes, yes.
Congratulations, honey. Here you go.
Congratulations. Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you so very, very much. I first off, I want to thank the Lord, because it's the Lord that makes this all possible for us. And clearly, this weekend was a huge challenge for us, but I asked him for these blessings, and boy, he delivered. I also want to say special thanks to my mom and dad. They've been a supporter of our racing since I was an infant, and it's just a shame that they aren't here, because I know their prayers were with me. And Mom and Dad, this is for you. Yeah!
Right. What an outstanding feeling that is when that man hands you the Iron Man. It's just an unbelievable feeling.
He spoke about his father. His father, a long-time racer, and how about that? Ricky D steps up to the top 5 in the number 2 position. Harold Martin still leading in the points. The 3-time champ Shannon Jenkins in the number 3 spot. Here's a look at the rest of the top 10 as Von Smith will fall down to the number 8 spot. Well, another guy looking for his first IHRA win is Terry Capp.
Terry, this is the only race that you've ran this year. You've got a hard competitor, Clay. He said he's going to really turn it up a notch, knowing that you are here, home, Canadian boy.
Absolutely, and you can't blame him, and he's got the reputation. He ran a 57. He had the track record for ET and top speed until we took away the top speed record on him today. And I mean, that man's been racing. He's been in the final round 3 times in the NHRA circuit, and he's won every IHRA race that's been scheduled for this year. So he's definitely not one to take lightly.
I think you're kind of laid back. I think you got a scheme going on. What is that?
Well, they accused me of sandbagging for the last couple of days, but no, it's just I just take orders from Rob Flynn. He's our crew chief. He says, Terry, you do this, you do that, and I try my best.
Well, the finals are next. Those guys are having fun playing in the mud. We're going to put them on the track in just a minute.
Stay tuned for the top feelers, because IHRA rocks Edmonton.
Brought to you by Edson Chrysler. Inspiration comes standard. And by Western RV, #1 in family fun. Welcome back here to Budweiser Motorsports Park as we are lined up and ready to go with the finals of Top Fuel. And Harold Martin has just won his first IHRA Ironman. What a super individual. Congratulations to him. Well, the weather conditions have changed here once again, Johnny.
Yes, they have. The track temperature has dropped 15 degrees since we saw these cars last. It's cloudy, and it's about 3,100 feet corrected. These are not pristine conditions.
Take a look at the ladder there. We need to talk about Terry Capp. Age 59, has been racing Top Fuel since 1969 with a front-engine car. In 71, he ran 246 miles an hour in a front-engine car. Then in 72, switched over to a Woody Gilmore car. There's a name that you're familiar with, of course, Johnny. He's done a great job. He won the AHRA World Finals in Tulsa in 79. We mentioned that he won the U.S. Nationals in 1980. Still holds an ET and mile-per-hour record at Saskatoon as he lines up next to Clay Millican, and Millican has been perfect. This is his 18th consecutive final round going back to 2002. Unbelievable.
I don't think Clay was even born in 69, for Pete's sake, you know. And here we are. Terry's been running longer than Clay is old, but we'll see what happens here. This ought to be... Oh, look at this!
Leaves before the light was even activated, before the tree was activated. That's why there's absolutely no numbers on the board. What a thump and run. You've got to wonder what that car ran at this point, but again, Clay Millican will get another win.
Rookie mistake. That is a rookie mistake from an old pro. He just got over anxious and nailed that thing. The fire just coming out of that thing. You could see the fuel mixing it up. Just absolutely could have had a good drag race going here, but we'll never know because the numbers didn't come up.
You know, his good friend and longtime crew chief, Bernie Federley of John Ford's fame now, would be disappointed whenever he hears about this move here. But you know what? It's happened to everybody that's ever been in this business for any length of time. Well, we'll go to the top end here and talk with our champ, once again, who's won 27 consecutive rounds, Clay Millican.
But Clay, that looks like it hurts, and you hurt the guy that lost. So congratulations.
You know what? What a deal. Werner Enterprises. Peter Lehman, he gave me the keys to the car today, and I just drove it right down through there. You got to hand it to old Mr. Capps. Mr. Capps did the job, I tell you what.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I appreciate y'all being out here. I love these things. I love the bonus checks that come with them too. You know, it's a good day. Man, you know what? This race was hanging heavy on us from last year. I lost this thing on a hole shot. Just almost gave it away this year on a red light, you know. So what a day. Werner Enterprises, Matco Tools, Royal Purple. And you know what?
What?
I am just having so much fun that, you know, driving this thing, you know, you just kind of go on autopilot. You just let things happen, and then when things work out good, the wind lights come on, and thank goodness for Mike Clover and Peter Lehman and Werner. You know what?
Thanks for your wife and friends and everyone at home.
Yeah, you know what? I tell you, I got my oldest boy here, Cale. He's just been hanging out, listening to some rock music. He's in the van there. And my little one at home, Dalton, is just like, Daddy, I'm ready to go to the races. I want to go to Canada. I want to hang out. So who knows? We'll see what happens. Maybe I can bring him up there. But you get the two of them together, it's just like this team right here. They're unstoppable.
Yeah, congratulations.
Hey, Ken, did you notice in the interview that Clay was out of breath? These guys hold their breath when they go down the racetrack, and they're winded by the time they get out of that car.
I don't think they could breathe with all those G-forces against their chest. Well, we see a bunch of happy fans walking out of there. I saw one of those IHRA sweatshirts, and there's a look at the points. Clay Millican still perfect after 5 rounds of racing, 670 points, followed by Bruce Litton. A look at the rest of the top 10 here in Top Fuel. Now, our next show will air on July 31st. That'll be the Funny Car and the Sunoco Race Fuels Pro Stock divisions here from Edmonton. Make sure you check it out on Speed TV, and we'd love to see you at the AC Delco Canadian Nationals, Toronto Motorsports Park, July 30th through August 1st. Come out there in person, and you can watch and get autographs of all these top racers. For hot motorsports action, make sure you log on to our good friends at speedtv.com, and congratulations to that guy, Harold Martin. What a job well done. Hope you had a great time. For Johnny Rocca and Medusa, I'm Ken Stout, and we'll see you.